Yeah, exactly. Will you all scoot in the back? Will you scoot in the front? Sorry if I'm saying you. All right, Michelle, will you scoot over and this front line scoot over to meet stuff? Yes. And then we can have one more tall person right here. So one of you guys come over here. Sneak in the back right there. All right, let's see. Yeah, gotta be able to see. Will you come over to this side? And can y'all? Yeah, can you step forward and in a little bit right there? It's a pretty good window. Okay, so this should be good. Just generally keep an idea of where your spot is. It's gonna be a press conference, so I'll be talking. Okay, can we see everybody?
Yep.
Okay. Cool. Thank you guys. I will go let them know we're ready.
Ready?
Everybody ready to get started? You guys ready? Okay. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us. My name is José Garza, and I'm humbled to be your district attorney. Last Friday morning, the U.S. Supreme Court overturned over 45 years of well-established law. The decision to overturn Roe and to eliminate the constitutional right to abortion is radical. It is the very definition of activism in our legal system. But more importantly, the decision to overturn Roe is dangerous, and there can be no question that it will make us less safe. This decision has created instability for women, families, and for our community. And now, our state leaders have determined that in less than 30 days, what was a constitutionally protected right for almost 50 years will now be a crime. Making abortions a crime will not end abortions. It will simply end safe abortions for too many. Threatening women who seek abortion services with prosecution will only drive women to seek out dangerous alternatives and avoid necessary medical care, which will lead to higher rates of preventable maternal death. The number one responsibility of any district attorney is to keep our community safe. Our communities are safer when women and families can make personal health care and reproductive decisions without the threat of interference from the state. Here in Travis County, we will not force women into the shadows, especially when they need life-saving medical care. Here in Travis County, we will not criminalize personal health care decisions. If you need medical assistance, I implore you to seek it. A prosecutor's job is to protect public safety. And to enforce this law will not only fail to promote or protect public safety, but will also lead to more harm. Last week, our worst fears became real. Today, you will be hearing about some of the real ways this decision will make our community and the people who live in it less safe. I know there are a lot of folks in our community who are scared, who are worried about their safety and the safety of their loved ones. I promise that I will continue to fight for and protect women's rights and use my discretion as the district attorney to avoid tragedy and preventable harm in our community. We are going to hear now from Erin Martinson, the director of our Special Victims Division. It's the division responsible for prosecuting domestic violence offenses and sexual assault offenses. We will have one additional speaker after that, and then I will return to the podium to answer a few of your questions. Erin?
I will never forget the day that my mom told me she was sexually assaulted. I was a young teenager, and it was really difficult to make sense of the fact that somebody had hurt her in such a dark and intimate way. But what she told me afterwards was even worse. While dealing with the trauma and the hurt of the sexual assault, my mom discovered she was pregnant. But abortion was not an option for her. Sit with that for a minute. Most of us here, standing here today, have never known a world where a woman did not have the right to seek an abortion. Look around you right now. 1 in 3 women in our communities will experience intimate partner and sexual violence during their lifetime. Of those women, 5% will become pregnant after their attack, and the research shows that violence escalates in severity and frequency when a woman is pregnant. The single most dangerous time for a victim of intimate partner violence is when she attempts to leave her abuser. And you can imagine violence during pregnancy has devastating effects on maternal health. And now 100% of victims in Texas do not have access to safe abortions. I have fought for the rights of survivors in our community for my entire career. I suppose I came to this work in part because of my mom's experience and because she taught me to speak up in the face of injustice. But for the first time in my life, I feel like I have no voice, and I certainly don't have the agency to choose what is best for me and my body. But more importantly, the millions of women who are tortured and beaten and stripped of their choices every single day now have even less options for escaping their abuse. Today, because my mom taught me never to give up, and because of the fearless and humane leadership of DA Garza, First Assistant Trudy Strasburger, and my fellow directors, I am standing here to say that we will push back against the paternalistic and misogynist ruling of our highest and most sacred judiciary, and a bill that criminalizes abortion that was supported by many of our elected officials here in Texas. To all the women listening and watching today, we see you. We know that you're feeling helpless and distraught. Rest assured, we will not prosecute you for making decisions about safety and for terminating from the pain of carrying a child conceived in rage. We will continue to do everything we can to help you find safety, because you deserve to be treated with dignity. You deserve to be able to make decisions that are best for you and your body, and you deserve to live free from violence. Thank you.
I'd now like to welcome up Neva Fernandez, who is the director of our Victim Services Division, the division that is responsible for meeting the needs of victims of crime at the Travis County District Attorney's Office.
Good morning, and thank you for being here today. I want to start by sharing some facts. 1 in 4 girls under the age of 18 are sexually assaulted in our country. The average age for females to begin their period is 12. Some girls start as young as 10. To put that in context, these are 4th and 5th graders, elementary school age girls. And 1 out of every 4 of these girls can potentially get pregnant from violence perpetrated on their bodies. In Texas, where elected officials enacted legislation that makes no exception for rape or incest, the Dobbs decision has especially dire consequences. This legislation strips survivors of sexual violence of the control they might reclaim over their bodies. Make no mistake, this office has absolutely seen crime victims as young as 10 years old impregnated by their rapists. I can tell you that we had a 10-year-old child get pregnant from rape. We prosecuted her assault, and she was able to get an abortion at the time. It is important to understand that this isn't a happy ending for that child, and every step was additional trauma on her child's body and her child's spirit. However, access to a safe abortion allowed that girl to take some control over her body back. After Friday's decision, this will no longer be an option for child or adult victims of sexual assault in Texas. What we are about to see is real, and it will harm women and children across the state. Today, after the Supreme Court's ruling on Dobbs, a child who is raped by a stranger, or her uncle, or yes, even her father, will be forced to carry that pregnancy to term. The little girl who should be eating spaghetti at the school cafeteria and playing tag during recess will be forced to leave school at 10, 11, 12 years old to carry a baby in her own tiny child's body. For any female who is raped, a pregnancy that is carried to term has consequences beyond the trauma of the event. A woman who gives birth to a child of rape can be forced to co-parent with her rapist, especially if he's not successfully prosecuted. She may even lose custody of the child, as happened recently in Louisiana, where Krista Abelseth lost custody of her daughter to the man who raped her when she was 16 and he was 30. This is not an uncommon tale. Every day, district attorneys' offices across our state prosecute men who rape women and children. The rape is traumatic, the investigation is traumatic, the prosecution is traumatic. For women and children who become pregnant through rape, they now face the additional lifelong trauma of being forced to give birth. Not every woman who becomes pregnant as the result of rape chooses to abort the pregnancy, but the Dobbs decision and the Texas trigger law means that in Texas, she has no choice. Let me be clear. Females of means will always be able to get an abortion. They or their parents will pay for a plane ticket, and they will get the medical attention they need. The women and children who will experience forced pregnancies, and that's what this is, forced pregnancies, will be those with the least resources. The ones with no insurance, no access to medical care, no daycare, and no support once the baby is born. I am honored to work for a district attorney who recognizes the essential humanity in each and every human he encounters. Today, DA Garza and the Travis County District Attorney's Office are standing up to say every survivor of sexual assault and to every woman or child who may one day walk through our doors after having been raped and finding themselves pregnant, if you feel like you can't breathe, like your world is narrowing down to a box that you can't get out of, know this. We here at the Travis County District Attorney's Office are here for you. Our hearts and minds are with you, and we will fight for you. You are not alone. Thank you.
Before we take questions, I want to just make sure that we get some vital information out. I would ask you for your help in making sure it gets to our community. If you or someone you love needs help, please do not hesitate to call the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-7233. Again, 1-800-799-7233. Or here in Central Texas, please call the Safe Alliance at 512-267-7233. Again, 512-267-7233. And with that, be happy to take a few questions.
This is the first time that Travis County has come at odds with what's happening in our state county. What are you expecting in terms of either retaliation or maybe the governor and the Texas Attorney General kind of forcing your hand and forcing you to prosecute some of these cases? What are you expecting?
Well, for the last several years, our statewide elected leadership has made clear that they will play politics with our public safety. And so I expect more of the same. But the truth is that the Texas Constitution and the Texas Supreme Court have been quite clear that the only office with authority to prosecute crimes in a local community is the office of the locally elected district attorney. That is what our state constitution says. That is what the Court of Criminal Appeals, the highest court here in Texas, has said. And I believe that that's going to continue to be the law here in the state of Texas.
Any fear that the governor could threaten maybe pulling funds or restricting funds to the county or anything like that?
Well, again, they have demonstrated time and time again that they will play politics with our public safety, and I'm sure that that will continue.
I do want to be 100% clear. So what you're saying here today is a promise that your office will not prosecute people who seek abortions, who are pregnant, or medical providers who give abortions in Travis County.
We have been incredibly clear over the last several weeks that we will not prosecute people who seek abortions or people who provide abortion services. The role of the prosecutor is to see that justice is done. That is the statutory role of the prosecutor, and that means that in every case, our duty is not to prosecute, but to ensure a just outcome.
So, then if I understand correctly, you won't prosecute cases, but law enforcement operating within Travis County could still make an arrest, right, of a person performing or obtaining an abortion? Or are you working with law enforcement agencies in here to even prevent an arrest?
Well, I won't speculate as to what law enforcement here in Travis County will do. I will note that there is an ordinance making its way through Austin City Council that may address that. But for today, my focus is on the role and responsibility of our office. We'll do one more.
You mentioned the 30-day trigger rule. Do you feel that in Travis County right now it is not illegal to obtain an abortion?
What we know is that the trigger law goes into effect in less than 30 days. But as I've said, what we're focused on is our discretion here in Travis County. We are focused on our responsibility to see that justice is done in our community, that we keep people safe. And as a result, we want to make sure, look, it's important to understand why this is the right choice for our community. Because we do not want women in our community suffering at home or dying because they are too afraid to go to the hospital to get the care that they need. Okay? Thank you guys so much. I want to just also point out that the county judge is here. Thank you so much, Judge Andy Brown. Available for pull-asides? Sure. Available for pull-asides, and a few of us may be as well. Thank you so much for coming out.
Thank you, guys. If you have any questions, just email them to me.
If you guys want to do this right over here, I have a mic stand so y'all can put your mics, clip it to it if you need to.
here.